Okay, so in this video we're going to go through how to create a decal that you can apply to an asset. So you could think of this as in your RTS game, you have units that are selectable, you have resources that are selectable or buildings that are selectable, and when you click them, you want some sort of indicator being applied so the user knows that it actually is highlighted or selected. So this is pretty easy to do, and we're going to create a base class that you can use in your games. So to start, right now in our landscape or in our map, we have a placeholder cube, so we're just going to remove that. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a blueprint. So let's do that. I want an actor blueprint, so I'm going to call this BP interactable. And I'm going to jump in there, and I'm going to create a box collider. Let's go box collision. We see a collision box made, and then inside of that we're going to create a decal. And we're going to call this selection decal. And then we're also going to create a cube, and this is just so we can see what we're doing. Whoa, it's a little too big. So let's reduce the size of that. So I'm going to modify the size of this. This is pretty huge. So let's see. Let's jump into our selection decal. For the rotation, I'm going to change this so it's on its side. And then for the size, that's a little big. Let's make this 45, 90, and 90. Okay, that's a little bit better. And then for the box itself, let's change the size of that. We're going to make this 80, 80, and 32 is good, so that just goes outside of our collision. Perfect. So let's compile that, save that, and you'll notice if you jump into your decal again, we have an option here for a material, a decal material. So let's create that. Let's go to our content drawer, or right click, hit material, say selected decal. Jump in there, and to start, let's just create a constant. Sorry, not a constant. Let's create a vector 3, and if you click the color here, you get a color wheel that you can select. So let's make it something green. Okay, perfect. And let's drag that pin out into our emissive color. So now if we save that, the material get applied. Let's jump back into our map, and let's drag out our interactable onto the map. And you'll see if you want that box to be to intersect with the map of the world, sorry, the floor, and then we can see our decal there. So if we press play, you'll see something being a material being applied. Now this is not the effect we want, so let's change that. We'll jump into our selection decal, and on the details panel over on the left for our material, for the domain, we actually want to select this as a decal. So that'll change. And then for the blend mode, let's select this as translucent. That's a little bit better an effect. So if we save that, hit apply, and jump. Oh, we need to save this. Great. And we jump back to our map. Let's make sure our interactable. So now for our decal, what we're going to do is select our decal. You see that change. So we'll save that, hit compile, jump back to our map, and we see a difference already. This looks like a glowing effect, but what we actually want is I want to create a ring that pulsates, it grows when we select the unit. So let's do that. So let's jump back into our material. And what we're going to do is we need a function that is based on time. So I'm going to select time here, time node. And then I'm going to use a sine function, the linear sine function. So if I drag time into the value, this linear sine function will make a transition from 0 to 1 based on time. I now want to modify my period. So this will be how often it oscillates between 0 and 1. Let's drag that into period, and let's just change this value to 3. Okay. And now to actually affect the change of the color here, I'm going to use another node called a radial gradient exponential. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the output of the sine to the density, and then take the output of this and multiply it with our constant color. So we'll take that, drag that into here, drag that into the multiply function, and the output will be the color. So now if we save this, you'll see this pulsating effect, which is pretty neat. And now if we look at our map, you can kind of make out the pulsating effect, but it's much too small. So let's modify that again. So we'll take that and we'll create a multiply node. So we're just going to scale this up. So I'm going to drag this out to here. We'll scale it by a constant. Let's go 25. And let's drag this out into our density. And now if we apply this, we should see this pulsating ring effect. Or I should say pulsating color, it's not a ring yet. Here we go. So it's much larger. And it's almost there, but we can still improve this. So what we're going to do is we're going to hollow out the center of this ring, because right now it's just a circle that's growing. And that'll give us that ring effect. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to use another exponential node. And we're still going to use the density here. But now what we're going to do is we're going to modify the radius. So we're going to use constant. Let's maybe make this 0.4. And we'll drag this out into our radius. And then we're going to subtract these two nodes together to hollow them out. So let's take that into here, move the other one into the other pin, and then use this for our multiplication. Let's apply that. And now you can see we're getting a cool effect. So if we jump back to our map, there we go. We see that ring. So if you hit play, you'll see that. But now we don't have anything clickable. So let's do that. So if you go into your player controller, we have our cursor set up. But what we need to do on our player controller is actually ensure that this click event option is enabled. So make sure that's enabled, otherwise any objects in our scene won't be able to actually receive a click event. So make sure that's selected, hit save, and then compile. And then if you jump back to your blueprint interactable class and you go to your event graph, this is where we're going to create the toggling effect. So to do that, we're going to get the actor on clicked. Sorry, let's go clicked. Event actor on clicked, perfect. And then we're going to toggle visibility. So we have a couple things that the IntelliSense is able to set. We're going to be selecting the decal. So that's created there. Drag this pin into there. And just to make sure that's working, let's get a print string going. And we're going to print out clicked. Great. Let's highlight this, comment, toggle selection decal, hit save, hit compile. And the other thing we want to do is make sure that the default decal is not already visible. So if you go and select your decal here, we're going to want to ensure this is not visible. So toggle the visibility off. So now when we hit compile and save, jump back to our map, you'll see it's not immediately visible. But when we press play and I click, there we go. You see the clicked pop up and we're toggling the visibility. So there you have it. That's an easy way to create a toggleable material that you apply to your assets. Thanks again.